everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Fourtress of a podcast about movies, TV shows, video games, and lots of pop culture and nerd things. My name is Oscar. I'll be one of your hosts today. With me per usual are two of your other hosts. We got Brian, also known as the Beard and New Reliable and the Spider-Man villain, Mr. Negative on a Dragon Ball Z Redemption arc. And we also got Devin, the Brains, and Mr. Nowhere. Back to back. Here we go. How you guys doing?
Doing good, man.
Well, are we doing good? We're doing.
Not,
I guess doing
yeah,
worse
not to
now than I was
peek
last
behind
week.
the curtain, listeners. Devin and Brian may have gotten ahead of themselves and before the main topic this week off pod. Also, Devin's been getting ahead of himself all fucking day via our group chat. It's just been
Me
so
and Devin
funny
were just
to watch.
letting it out the entire day because I was watching it for most of the day because I wasn't caught up. So I used some of the day for that, and then Devin was just using my anger to fuel his anger, which is funny because I still went and played
Devin
that
was
game
straight
today.
Up posting.
Yeah.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah,
I'll have to do that after we record to put my soul back in balance. But yeah, I mean, like I said in the group chat, I missed the person I was before I started this show. So
we'll get to it. We'll
maybe save you a lot of trouble and just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's too damn funny. Yeah, listeners, there's your little sneak peek about what's to come up in our main topic this week. So, before we get to that, though, guys, we got a bunch of fucking news to get to. So, should we hop into our first segment of the week?
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
News talk.
All right, first piece and only piece of news before we head to the trailer park. Guys, you guys are familiar because we were all born in 1958 with Popeye the Sailor Man, the classic cartoon. Probably was I bet it was a comic or something at some point. But this is according to Variety that he's going back to the big screen in a live action version. No casting. It's just all. Yeah,
we know who's gonna be cast. It's gonna be Chris Pratt, of course. Who else?
I was gonna go The Rock.
no, Chris Pratt, of course. He's got blood money on this shit.
Wait,
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
Who in Hollywood has massive forearms but then no bicep? Basically defying all biology. Who has that?
You gotta John Cena could kind of do it.
Who?
Yeah.
John Cena.
John Cena.
Ooh, honestly?
But he's too big.
I was thinking like
you need him to be real small.
I feel like Jake Gyllenhaal's got some weird arms where he's like muscular, but it's like he's skinny still.
Oh my god, Jake Gyllenhaal as Popeye would be so fucking weird.
Oh wait, okay, a good take would be just make it a comedy and just make it goofy. Do like Michael Cera or somebody, and then have like somebody like
prosthetic
stand in for them. Yeah, like
that would be funny.
Oh, a body double, but then his head is just
like
Michael Cera.
Or like like a soft boy, like Timothée Chalamet or Tom Holland, maybe. I think both of them could do it.
No,
too.
that's what it should be. So Popeye before spinach is Timothée Chalamet. Popeye after spinach is like Tom Hardy.
I thought you were going to say The Rock. Just make him a different color.
The Rock.
That would be fantastic, honestly.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, this is weird, but okay. We gotta know who's gonna be Popeye.
It's too weird. I have zero interest in it, but I will be interested to know who they choose.
Yeah. Maybe they get good work to direct it, and then it's like an actual good movie that's about confronting toxic
that's a good point.
And eating your
vitamins.
We heard
Barbie. We were like, why are they doing this? Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
True. That was one of my favorite movies of that year.
It's possible.
Could do it.
Even a Popeye the Sailor Man.
Could land the plane. I doubt it. But
they could build a plane. We don't know if they'll land it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. But to do so, we have to head to the trailer park because we got a lot to talk about. So let's go.
Mom's Spaghetti.
Oh, God. Let's get into it.
Oh, no. All right, here we go.
I mean, accurate.
This is probably our biggest trailer park I think we've ever come across, guys. So we're going to try to nail these. First one. Try not to get too hyped for it. It's another Star Wars show, so we know how well those have done. This is we finally got our first trailer for the Acolyte. This is what is it? Old Republic or High Republic? I don't remember.
I think
it's High Republic, right?
Yeah.
Either way, lots of Jedi.
Jedi finally.
It's the High Republic.
Finally, we're going to tell a story that actually has Jedi in it, because the only story we've ever gotten about Star Wars is when there's only like 4 of those motherfuckers. God damn.
I know. And if you wanted many colors of lightsabers, you sure as hell will get them in this.
They finally have more than one person
spectrum
with yellow. We might get some white ones again. That's cool.
That would be sick. Hey, if
Get some orange in
is like
there.
a gateway to opening up the door and showing everybody, hey, here's all the lore from KOTOR, I am all the way in. And I mean, they've already made that stuff canon, right? So that Filoni is aware of that stuff. So if this is just like a way to get it to the masses and be like, we could do a lot more with this, I mean,
right?
I'm all for it.
I hate
this.
I mean, because it looks cool.
I know.
I'm actually excited, and I hate Star Wars right now.
Yeah, that's
fair.
I
mean, for one thing, the one thing that like obviously picked for me is the choreography actually looks like they put some effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
So someone does like a flying spin kick. Well, I was like, okay, we're doing some cool shit. All right, I'm into it. Please keep it up. But yeah, I mean, just like an era of live action Star Wars we haven't seen with characters that are going to be completely. Well, I mean, they're going to connect. We all know they're going to connect at some point somehow. We just don't know. Yoda is probably going to show up because he's 1,000,000 years old. But still, the possibility that these are just like fresh faces that we get to deal with is very exciting for me. At least.
No Skywalkers, no Palpatines. Well, maybe one Palpatine, but none of that. No name changing. No Kenobis. Just new faces. Let's do it.
Yeah,
and like maybe dark themes, kind of Andor vibes. Maybe would love to see it.
I would love that too. I don't know if that's the marketing team being like, let's just trick people into thinking it's that, because like the poster, I don't know if y'all saw the poster where it's like the lightsaber hilt and it's not the red. It's just a red blood streak as the blade.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, these are some vibes I'm getting, and I'm digging them.
The only thing that holds me back a little bit from getting too optimistic about that is like I think in the trailer, like they're telling like a story about to children. So if there's gonna be a lot of kids in this, probably not great. But who knows?
No way. That's gonna be the beginning. They're gonna start with some younglings, and then that's
hope so.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited. It's got fucking Carrie-Anne Moss from obviously The Matrix and shit. They got the guy from Squid Game, a show I still have not seen.
Great show.
But
recommend.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm excited. Just to let's see some cool shit, please. Don't fail us again, please. They can't. You got to give us something. They have to.
Andor was really a sleeper hit because everything else has been pretty dog lately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited. Coming out in June. So fast approaching. Speaking of fast approaching, next trailer, or trailers, I should say, because HBO put out the new trailers for season 2 of House of the Dragon. Marketing teams have just been on fire this week. They split these kind of trailers up into teams of the black trailer and the green trailer, representing the sides of this coming war and the families the colors that they don. I don't really have much to say, I think, about any of these, just because it is more House of the Dragon. There's some dragons, there's some fighting, there's some fire. I'm gonna watch it. Obviously, I'm into it still, but
but see, season 1 was just a build up to get us to this point where looks like the war's gonna start. So we're gonna get some cool action, I hope.
Yes. Yeah. We're all in for this universe of. I guess the only thing that's unfortunate, I said this during when we talked about the first season. I don't like any of these people.
Everyone's very unlikable.
They all suck. There's like at least with Game of Thrones, you had people to root for, and yeah, like I'm rooting for fucking Rhaenyra, but everyone sucks.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind it. I kind of like stuff like that because then I think it makes it more interesting when people die because it's not so much of like, oh, this sucks. It's more like they kind of had it coming. It gives me the same vibe of like horror movies where there's a bunch of teens in the cabin and they all kind of are shitty. And you're like, oh, well, this is funny because like they died in a really goofy way.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I'm reading it personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't know if that's the vibe I want in this very dramatic, serious show they're putting out.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's kind of the thing, is it doesn't really garner the same like level of writing that I feel like original Game of Thrones did until the end, of course. Where it's just like it's a little soapy. It gets a little soapy, it gets a little goofy, and it's not so like I don't really take it so seriously as I did originally, especially when Rings of Power came out at the same time, and that told a very different fantasy story compared to this.
Right.
So
yeah,
I enjoy it. How many seasons is supposed to end up being?
I think 4 is what they. I think 4 is.
Shit's never gonna end.
It looks like it could do 3, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited still.
Yeah.
You know, just to see what ridiculous shit happens.
It's coming out sooner than I thought. That's awesome.
Yeah. Very
the good
cool.
thing about
Very cool.
being
It comes out
UK
July.
as shit is you didn't have to stop filming during the writer's strike.
Yeah, that was pretty fucked. But yeah. All right. Next, continuing with HBO, they put out the first teaser for the Penguin show that's finally happening. This is follow-up of Matt Reeves' The Batman universe. Yeah, cool, gritty crime thriller. Colin Farrell having to sit in a makeup chair for God knows how long to turn into the Penguin. I'm pretty sure I did hear that Batman is supposed to show up at some point, which that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But also, it could just be a cool, gritty crime show. I don't know how well that's going to do. But if this is just a one-time thing, like a short little 4 to 6 episode little mini-series and done, it could be cool, you know?
They just made it because he did such a great job in the movie. They're like, all right, we just got to do more with this Penguin guy because like nobody believes that it's him. Like, it's Colin Farrell, right? Not Colin Firth.
Yeah,
I always get him confused.
Colin Farrell.
Not
Colin Firth.
Farrell.
It's not Colin Firth,
and he looks nothing like it. I think every time he was on screen in that movie, I was like, that is not Colin Farrell. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
So
I feel like we're probably going to start to see through the seams in this show just because we're going to see it so
maybe.
often. But it's still a fantastic performance either way.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, it's weird to see that this universe is still continuing. It's probably going to get reset once James Gunn universe starts. I don't know. I don't think we just talked about how Batman the movie got delayed a year. So I don't know, guys.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing here, but maybe they're just like it's fine being its own separate thing for a little bit.
But honestly, like that's the way comic books are. So like I kind of like that DC has always done that, even though it's mainly because they are chaotic and don't have a good central plan. Like
yeah,
but like, but still, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like as long as you're telling a good, compelling story.
I mean, what the fuck is Joker? The second one's gonna be a musical. None of that shit is real.
That's true.
It's all fake.
Yeah.
That's
okay,
also
maybe I
very
take
true.
back my point.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. Let's move on to our next teaser trailer. Back to movies. This one's for Alien Romulus. This is set between the first and second Alien movies. Directed by the guy that did Evil Dead and Don't Breathe, which I liked Evil Dead. I know some people didn't like it, but I quite enjoyed that little reboot.
Hilarious movie, the first one. So funny.
Second, yeah, the new one, not as funny, but gory as fuck.
Yes. I didn't like the second one so much, but I thought the first one was hilarious.
Yeah. Which could lend itself to this universe of horror and aliens. You know, I kind of like the vibes they were going with. We were talking a little bit before we started recording that. Very Alien Isolation, the video game vibes I got from this trailer or teaser, whatever.
Yeah. It looks cool. I'll probably maybe stream it sometime. Maybe see some YouTube scenes.
See some YouTube scenes is crazy.
Won't commit to
Watch that damn movie.
Looks great. I know. Devin loves just going to YouTube to watch bits and pieces of movies.
So
I mean,
funny.
why waste time with characters when you could just skip straight to the action? Might consider that a little prelude to our main topic later.
We're cooked as a species, and this is how we're consuming media now. TikTok has fried our brains.
That's true. All right. Next up, this one's for Beetlejuice teaser. Michael Keaton's back as man. I real quick side tangent. I guess my household was sort of a Beetlejuice household, but in the sense that I fucking hated that first movie as a child. That movie scared the absolute fucking shit out of me. I've yet to ever go see it as an adult because I'm like, I refuse. It's too traumatic now.
It's just off-putting. He's just an off-putting character.
he's so scary and so creepy and gross, and ugh.
Just the sound Beetlejuice too. It's just not a good. It's not a good thought that comes to mind. Does not inspire happy things.
But yeah,
that's the point.
No, absolutely, yeah. I mean, Michael Keaton's probably gonna kill it. He's knock it out of the park. There's nothing he can't do. He's Batman. But I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of over Jenna Ortega just being Wednesday Addams and everything.
I was gonna say that. That's just kind of like, okay. I mean, this is whatever. The casting makes sense.
For a second, I thought it was like related to the Addams family. I'm like, oh, are they crossing over with the Addams family? But because it's like a similar kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
As Wednesday.
Yeah. I probably won't go see this unless I hear it's the best thing in the world. But I'll see it at some point, maybe. But maybe this will get me to overcome my fear of the first one.
I mean, it says to experience it in IMAX, and I won't do that.
No way. Are you kidding me?
No.
You only get like one a year, man. Dude.
Yeah, no, I'm good. But yeah, people are very excited. People have been wanting this for a while, so there you go. Tim Burns, maybe he'll make a good movie. Who knows?
Ooh.
All right, last and final trailer. This is a video game trailer. This is for Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. This is one that we talked about in the past one time when I think it was like announced like a year ago at this point. This is the Captain America Black Panther game that is written by Amy Hennig, who wrote the first 3 Uncharted games before kind of there's some Naughty Dog debauchery that happened and she was fired or whatever. And then she's going to do that Star Wars game that I don't think she's doing anymore. And now she's doing this Marvel game. I'm excited just because like if she's attached to it, story, good. Now we got to see some gameplay. What's it going to be like?
We have not been cooking with superhero games lately, especially with the whatchamacallit one failing so miserably recently. And that's not to say that, I mean, she has her accolades, of course, but Big Core is really good at fucking up these games. So I'm nervous.
Yeah, because I think this is still is this an EA game or no?
Would it be considered an EA game?
No, this is Skydance. No, I don't think this is EA. For some reason, I thought this was EA. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously the trailer it's not gameplay. It's all like a CG trailer, basically. But I do wonder how close to the game is going to look. This game's not going to come out, I think, until next year. Yeah,
so it better fucking look like this.
I know. Yeah. It's weird now that it's that we're in an era where we're question whether or not is this going to be how the game looks or is it going to look slightly like this. Who knows? Before it was like this would be like this is a World of Warcraft trailer. And then,
and then you're going to be playing the worst looking game you ever played before in your life when you booted that shit up. Yeah, this doesn't look out of realm for what an actual game should probably look like on PS5. Will it run at 25 frames per second? Probably, but it might look like
maybe. Maybe. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. Like I think like the last probably good superhero game was Spider-Man 2 was cooking, single player game. If this again, the ones that have failed have been the ones that have been tried to do too much.
Yes.
Correct. If this stays a single player game, I think they could cook. Yeah. They could cook with it.
Yeah. Tell a good story.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's hope. Let's fucking hope. But that's it, guys. We did it. We got through all the trailers. And we got through all the news. With that, guys, should we now head into our poll? This is gonna be a big one. Yes. Our main topic of the week.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All righty. Look, listeners. Before we get ahead, we're trapped in a fortress. This is a fortress we've been in before. We're back here again. This is a fortress of space, of video games, not a lot of armor, a lot of this dude's face. Because we're in the fortress of
Master Cheeks, baby, round 2.
Devin, you're not gonna do the music.
I was gonna say, Alexa, play the Halo theme, but sad, like a crying,
but sad.
Play it like a minor chord.
And even in the opening intro, the man's not wearing his fucking armor. Even in the beginning, he's not
No,
wearing
I
his
know.
fucking armor.
They changed it from the first one, which I thought was hilarious. I was like, wow, really?
They're
Okay.
really doubling
Damn.
down on this no armor
They
shit.
took even more this time. They took even more.
Yes,
Which is
listeners,
fine.
we're talking about Halo Season 2. It just ended, the Paramount Plus TV show. 8 episodes, one less than the first season, which I'm thankful for because I had to fucking rush this shit. But look, we're here. Before we get into spoilers, before we let Devin go off for 30 minutes, I'll just start by saying it's been hilarious listening and watching the text between Brian, Devin, and I of just seeing Devin implode.
Oh my god!
Because look, I'll say this show was definitely a background show for me. I was on my phone a lot. I was doing a lot of other things. I downloaded it to my iPad at one point, and like as I was sitting in my car, like waiting for something or whatever, not driving, just waiting, I had it playing while I was doing shit. You know, it was one of those. I didn't have much time to get through these 8 episodes, so I did what I had to. I had it playing while I was in the background while I was playing Final Fantasy at one point.
That's not watching TV.
No.
What the fuck is that?
I was just kind of glancing over, listening, and you know.
That's what the show
it
deserves.
I got it. And with that though, I'll say, I think the good middle chunk, probably say like 80% of the season, is probably more boring than the first one for me personally. Clearly judging by my time.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly don't remember. I don't know if it was because I just wasn't as invested, didn't have as much time to sit and just watch it. Maybe I would have enjoyed it more. But yeah, I was just kind of going through the motions with this, and I just didn't care that much. But I will say there were some highlights, mainly that last episode. I know that I'm probably going to be the most positive on that last episode out of the 3 of us. But I thought, again, coming from someone who hasn't played the games, doesn't know all of the intricate details of the lore, knows a decent enough deal of some events, but not a whole lot. I thought the ending episode was maybe not a good Halo episode. I thought it was a decent Halo episode, but a good episode of TV personally. I thought it was a good episode for someone that doesn't know all the intricacies of all the origins of some of these things. I thought it was a good episode, action wise, visual wise, for the most part. I was like, okay, I'm pretty. That was a solid episode. Everything else was just kind of fine. I don't really care that much. I also had my complaints about Homeboy and his armor out. That made me laugh. That we'll talk about some of the dialogue choices and some of the things I was like, damn, they really don't give a fuck. But I will say this as well. No, I'll wait for spoilers. That's me. I mean, again, I would watch this as a background show. I don't think I would dedicate my full attention to 8 hours of this TV show, whatever it is, 7 to 8 hours. But it's not. I don't think it's a bad show. It's just it's fine, and then it's bad at times, and then it's pretty good at others. All right, who wants to go?
Do you want me to go next, Devin, and you can finish it out?
Go ahead.
And then we'll unleash the beast.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, me and Devin probably feel more similarly than we think we do. When it kind of comes down to it, I'm not gonna say it as angrily as Devin had, but as someone that did try to devote as much of my full attention as possible, because I do want to really take in like the art and stuff like that, and give the people the flowers that I feel like deserve it when creating this show. I feel about exactly the same that I felt in the first season, and that is that I don't know what the fuck the writers in that room are doing, and why they made a Halo show is really what it comes down to. This could easily be so many other things, or attached in so many different ways that didn't have to focus on Master Chief and his story. Because a big thing about it was the fact that it was supposed to be like a non-canon story, or like a different universe kind of thing. So instead of just making something completely different, they like weirdly cherry picked stuff from the actual story of Master Chief's life and then added a bunch of weird bullshit. And it's just not consistent. And the art's not consistent, and the action's not consistent, the writing's not just, there's so much inconsistency in the show where it feels like it passed through like 3 different hands throughout the like creation of this show. And we'll get a little bit into it, but I was talking to a friend before I got on the friend that actually works on like lighting composite. He actually worked on the Spider-Verse movies, because I was making fun of a scene that I saw that they literally didn't chroma key out one of the characters from the green screen background, so you could see the black outline of them. And it was like, that's that's inexcusable. Like that doesn't pass through
Yeah,
QC.
that's bad.
So we were talking about it because he was like, yeah, that shouldn't have happened. Somebody really like fucked up for that to happen. This is crazy. And that show just
Yeah.
kind of goes through that. So it's like the art design is good, but I even think it's more inconsistent than it was last season, where I don't know what they were doing. Where maybe they started rushing it, they started running out of money, or what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then the story just sucks. The story just fucking sucks, and the subplots suck. A lot of the main plot sucks, and none of the events that happen have anything to do with some of the most interesting lore of Halo. So it's like, why even do that part of Halo when you're not going to do it justice? I didn't see the point. So I hate the shit about as much as I hated the last season. So nothing really new. Like Devin said, there's some really interesting parts. I think the action is really good sometimes. But God, to get to that action part, you have to sit through some of the worst dialogue you ever heard before in your life. Often.
Yeah. Yep. Agree. I mean, okay. Yeah. Listen, earlier, if we had done this 4 hours ago, I would have gone full,
Have you got? Yeah. Has your anger subsided out of
at
just
this point?
exhaustion?
I'm not angry anymore. I'm just disappointed because like Halo is one of the most iconic video games of all time. It's one of the coolest sci-fi lores I've ever read. Or I've read the books. I played the games many times. The story, I'm one of the losers that just played the story mode. I didn't really play online because I didn't have the internet when I was younger. But I would play the story over and over and over and over again because it was that good, right? And like, I guess that's my issue. Is like it just feels like they had no regard. They just don't treat it well. I think with good adaptations, okay, I guess that's the right way to frame this. Right now, we have good contemporary examples of great adaptations where they somehow find a way to appeal to a large base of viewers, which is what their goal is, right? When you're making the show, you're taking something that like has a big fan base and you're trying to also expand and get some new viewers. There's examples of that being done incredibly well. Last of Us, right? Perfect example. They told the story of the games and appealed to a new audience, myself, right? While also including the old fans who had played just the games and found a way to satisfy both sides, right? Dune, right? Another example, like incredible movie, incredible, great adaptation, tells the story of the book, tells the story, and also gets it to a wide audience. This show just basically takes the Halo skin and then they're just like, well, we're just going to tell our own story. And it's like, why do that? Because you're going to alienate the original fans. And then the story but the most damning thing is that the story that you are changing things up to tell isn't good. And it's also not in line with the source material. Like
it's like you thought you could tell a better story than the Halo story, which is already a really good story.
And that's my main problem with the adaptations is like, why? And I know I'm a broken record at this point. I've said this maybe 3 or 4 times in a row now on the show, between us three. But like, why adapt something and try to tell it better if you're not even going to like get the themes of the main story, right? Like they're like, well, we'll take this from the original. We'll take that. We'll take this. But I want to say this about what it is to be a soldier and all this kind of stuff. And it ends up being stuff that just is completely incongruent with who the characters are. Like this the whole season, Master Chief is more focused on human enemies than he is on the Covenant. That makes no sense. I mean, like, and then they half bake every plot line to the point where nothing has any emotional weight, right? Like, it doesn't, like Reach falling or actually finding the Halo ring. There's no emotional weight to it because
that's getting into spoilers. Calm it down.
Yeah, sorry, but like, there's no emotional weight to anything because you haven't fully developed anything. I want to say that I think there's some things that are really good. Like I think they, you can tell that there was some love put into it, just not enough. Like, the action agreed. Like some of the costume design really spot on. Some of the acting, I think the actors, I have no problem with the actors. Not even the Master Chief. Like, I think he did a good job. I think most of the actors did a good job of what they give him.
I got some problems with
some
actors.
Is so bad. The writing is bad. It goes nowhere. They just decided to take a generic. They took what makes Halo good and unique, stripped it for parts, and then just told a very generic sci-fi story for no reason. Like every good adaptation that I just mentioned, they leaned into the weirdness, right? Just lean into it. You don't have to explain everything to the viewer. If it's good enough, if what you're telling is good enough and you're laying things out properly, people will figure it out on their own, or it'll leave them asking more questions, right? That's good world building, right? That's what you should have in any sci-fi or fantasy story, is leave your audience wanting more and asking more questions. If you spoon feed them everything and like take away what's actually from the original, you're just telling a generic sci-fi story. You could slap a Mass Effect skin on this story. You could slap an Expanse skin on this story. You could do so many other things and tell largely the same story that was told in this show. And that's the most damning thing about it. So
yeah, see, my thing, I gotta play them games because to me, I always thought Halo was a generic ass, just fucking space cop story. So I'm interested to see where it goes, because I think everything for me growing up, I heard was one, the ending of 3. I'm not spoiler future stuff. Ending of 3 is bad. I've only heard the negatives of the Halo stories when they fuck up rather than the good things. So I don't know any of those good things that people are like, oh my God, it's amazing, blah, 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 blah. So I'm interested. I got to play those games after this. But let's get into spoilers from this point on, since we're already wrapped up there. Let's just go to the ending, because I feel like that's where we have most of our thoughts probably, and then we'll talk about other things. Does it help, Devin, in your brain that now they're actually at Halo 1?
For 10 minutes, maybe.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like for future potential season 3 stuff, does it help that like now? Because up to this point, obviously, we're saying like they don't follow the Halo story, but it's like now they've actually gotten to a Halo story, and now could be the potential true test of time. Because I will say, like my thought at the end of this was the same thought I had at the end of season 1, which is why I'm a little worrisome. Where at the end of season 1, I was like, oh, he's going to be silent now because Cortana's in his brain and taking over. And then they immediately redo that in the first 12 seconds of the season.
The start of this season, they immediately retconned all of their own shit. And like, I mean, they had a new person take over. Like they had a new like showrunner take over, because they're like, oh, we're going to tell a better story. But they just completely overwrite their own stuff. And then none of it has any weight at all. So like Halsey escaping from Oni last season, only to end up in Oni custody the whole time. She was still there.
Yeah. And that's why I was like, I'm really worried that season 3 is going to do the same thing, where I'm like, okay, now my hopes are up because we're going to get to Halo now, and then some shit's going to happen and it's not.
Just,
so
like,
I don't know.
On Earth, or back on Reach, like.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
they got Ryan Johnson for sure, and that's kind of one of the big issues weird. Where it's like we kind of got to get back to retelling the story again. I almost forgot kind of what happened because some of it was redundant. Where I was like, "Huh? What happened?
Yeah,
wait a second."
Exactly. Like, and like, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know where to begin with all my issues. But like, yeah.
Are we talking about the last episode? Let's talk about how the Spartan 3s are completely useless, and that whole introduction meant fucking nothing. And also made no fucking sense because it was another character arc that didn't need to exist. And when it did exist, it was fucking stupid because it was half-baked. That shit with Talia made no fucking sense. How do you go from being a Marine that gets your ass kicked
her first name
to being a Spartan 3 in 30 minutes? 30 minutes. She's in her 20s, I'm sure. You get invited into the Spartan program in your maybe like 10 or 11 at the absolute latest. She's not Anakin Skywalker. She's not some fucking special case. She's just some woman, and they said we need some Spartan 3s. And you still got to train them. And you got to train them more than one fucking simulation.
Why does everyone in the show have to have a special connection to something? Okay, so like I don't know if you remember, but there was like a scene where like the door was like clanging when they checked out Visegrad Relay. Where the chief, and like this Marine was like tapping her finger at the same time. So I'm like, okay, the Covenant, like there's something weird with her. And then that goes absolutely nowhere. And then like Quan has to have some kind of connection, and the chief and Maki have to have these connections. It's like, why does everybody have to be special? Why can't it just be like one? And then it's just like, it feels like they just had to come up with things for characters to do and then tell a story based on that, instead of like telling a story and then having the characters fit into it as needed, right? I mean, what comes first? Like it feels like it's like, oh, we got to get Halsey on screen for 10 minutes this episode, so we got to just come up with something for her to do. Like Soren's plotline, completely useless. Okay?
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with him and his kid.
I literally skipped all the scenes, and I don't give a fuck. I really don't. But like, and then like the Spartan 3s, right? Let's keep it going. So Oni's whole plan. Okay, their whole plan. But this is let's go to the genius heads of Ackerman and the people at Oni. Okay, we're going to sacrifice Reach and Halo and all the Spartans, the Spartan 2s, okay, the good ones, right? The top ones that have the augmentations. We're going to sacrifice all of them and take their armor away so they have no chance, and then let Reach fall on purpose so that we can motivate people to sign up for the Spartan 3 program and then use them to like go on suicide missions.
And
what
I mean,
the fuck is that?
Is that what the plot was? Because I don't remember.
That's what it's supposed to be, and that's supposed to be what the Spartan 3 program was for. Was they were kind of like expendable soldiers, kind of like Helldivers, a game that I'm sure you guys have heard.
Which
a lot
that was clear to me, and I think that made sense.
There's ODSTs in Halo. We still have not even seen a single ODST.
And I think that would have made more sense. Like if they're going to do a Talia storyline, which I don't think they should have in the first place. I don't think it really made any sense to do that. But it would make sense for her. Maybe she's seen combat now for her to, graduate towards the ODST program. You don't just become a Spartan from a Marine. They're just not going to be like, oh, we're just going to augment you because, fucking whatever.
But they did it in like a week.
Right. I mean, that's what it felt like. It had to be because he was only in a coma for a couple days. So
they're doing all these simulations, and then they're just ready to go within like a week or two.
Well, no, I think they said Chief after Reach, he was in a coma. I think they said for 2 months, a month or 2 months.
I said 2 days when I watched it. Unless that
I don't know.
went into more detail with that, but yeah, that's what I heard.
Oh, you know, I don't remember now.
Yeah. But
it might have been 2 days. You might be right.
That whole part, like the Spartan 3's Oni and Parangowski and Ackerman. The whole Oni being shady thing is a theme in Halo. But, like, we're all on the same team, though. Like, because the Covenant, the threat of annihilation from the Covenant is a bigger problem than whatever petty political bullshit is going on behind the human scenes, right? When Reach gets attacked in the game, the fall of Reach, it's one of the best games in the Halo franchise is Reach, right? And the whole time, the UNSC is trying to fight tooth and nail for every inch that they give up to the Covenant. And eventually it's a losing fight, right? But it's a beautiful story because it's a tragedy. Ultimately, it's a tragedy because the humans have no chance, right? And that's the point of Halo is like, that's the only chance that the humans really have because the Covenant are that much more advanced than anything the humans have. But here in the game, when Reach falls, it's like, nobody even cares. As soon as Reach falls, they're more mad about the human side of it and the drama than the fact that they just lost their most
lost millions
planet.
of people really quickly.
I mean, I will say Chief's mad that Reach falls. Like, I will give him that. Like, that's the why he's so pissed and looking is that he's upset that they're not there. But I will say, like, that whole Reach episode was a bit of a disappointment in the sense that, like, I know that that's a big event that happens. And
you could have made that a whole season.
Right.
And that's what it should have been.
But right. And I was just like, oh.
Instead,
I feel like we saw the prelude to the fall and not the fall.
Exactly.
I don't know why. It was just a little weird. It was a little weird.
They put him through a coma through it, and that was one of the things where it's like, if you're gonna make side plots, put just fucking Noble Team in there, an actual side plot to the fall of Reach. Like that would make sense. But instead, you make these other side plots that aren't even relevant to what the actual story would be. Like that would have been a great way to do instead of the Spartan 3 program, really show like that kind of stuff. Would have been way more interesting to show them and kind of have them be the side story to Master Chief, walking alongside and doing what they needed to do while he was doing what he was doing. I don't know. It just seems so simple, and they were just like, no, thank you. And that's probably because they didn't want to spend the money. They didn't want to put people in cooler suits than they already had. They were like, well, it's Spartan 3 suits. We can make them out of plastic real quick. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. I mean, they have, like, they throw little words in there, right? Like Visegrad Relay and, like, Winter Contingency and stuff. And that's all from the game, right? But that's just cherry-picking little things to just be like, oh, look, we care about the source material. But really, like, did the Fall of Reach have any emotional weight? Because in the game, it's like, that this is humanity's second most important planet behind Earth, right? And
I didn't give a shit.
When it's the Rogue One of that series, like
right, but like, when they find Reach, it's a huge deal because it's like if we lose this, we're fucked. Like because we just have Reach is like the bastion of the military, and that's like
also we didn't even see it. We didn't see what it like the after. We didn't see the aftermath. We didn't see it get glassed or whatever.
There's like one little shot of
it. It was weird
when they're glassing the planet, and that's it. And it's like again, like it's half baked because they didn't build up Reach enough to the viewer to be like, oh, this is a huge deal that Reach is falling. It's just like, oh, it's just another human planet that fell. Who cares? And it's like, and none of the characters really care either. They're more concerned about the individuals they lost rather than the fact that they lost this hugely important planet. So that's like one of the things that's half baked is just like, this is,
I think that's a very human thing to do, though, to be honest, though. Like whenever, like humans will always care about the people closest to them.
Sure.
First and foremost, most of the time. You know what I mean? So like Chief asking where Kai is and all of his soldiers and losing his actual team, that does not surprise me in the slightest whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I will say, because I feel like I'm the only one that's gonna throw some positives in there. I gotta do it. I will say, homeboy, Jacob Keyes. I thought his speech was really good. In that moment, I was like, okay, I like this actor. I'm kind of bummed he's gone.
That was on my list of things that actually is Halo. When he's like, every Marine that stands with us is gonna die. And I'm like, that's literally every Halo mission ever. Like any Marine that comes with you dies in about 5 minutes.
Yes,
so
correct. I'm usually one that kills them for their weapon.
Jesus,
the
Christ.
most Halo thing that's ever been said in the show is all of you Marines are gonna die. Like,
I'm on a mission. I'm gonna give you this 5% plasma pistol while I take your rockets. Thanks.
But like the way the Keys goes, that's part of my issue because I was like in with it, right? Like Reach, the action was really good that episode, right? Like there's a lot of cool action going on. The choreography was very cool, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting back into it. And then they just kill Captain Keys out of nowhere.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that.
Like they treat him with such irreverence when it's like he was a huge part of Halo 1, the game. Like, and like, so no Pillar of Autumn. We still didn't get to see him do a single space battle because that was Keys' thing. He's like a big space tactician and he's the only one that can kind of beat the Covenant in space, right? We don't get to see any of that. We never did. And like, they just kill him like he means nothing.
You don't think they're going to bring him back?
They got to like,
I mean, he didn't die on screen, so
yeah, I think they're going to try to bring him back.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a
that would be cool if
plot
they
point.
did. I think he's definitely one of the strongest actors in the show.
Yes, I agree.
By far.
Yes.
I mean,
I like when he says fuck.
and he can really deliver an F-bomb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like when he says fuck. He's really good at saying fuck, and I appreciate that.
They gave him all the F-bombs.
yeah, the speech was cool. The speech was cool.
The go fuck yourself felt a little weird. I don't know if I needed that one, but the second one, it made more sense.
Yes, I did write in my notes. You're seriously not gonna have one Spartan during the Fall of Reach.
They do a thing. No, we got to talk a little bit about that. Because not only do they not have a single Spartan during the Fall of Reach, they say these guys are going to go out here and fight without armor. We're not going to give them a helmet. And it was like, wait a second. Even if they're not in their Spartan armor, you're still going to give them a fucking helmet and some fucking... What are you doing? These people are on their street clothes shooting people.
Maybe a bulletproof vest.
Yeah, give them a fucking vest. That's crazy.
A flak
I don't
jacket.
care what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, even like the commander is going to go out there and fucking something. And they were like, no, I'd rather wear my jeans. Okay. All right. You wear your Wranglers, bro. You do your thing. I don't fucking care anymore. It's whatever. I just found that really funny when they're on the front lines and motherfuckers not even wearing a helmet. And I was like, okay. Yeah. All right. That's cool.
Well, no, I mean, it's literally, they just have so much, they're just trolling us at this point. They're like, we took his helmet in season 1. Now we're just going to take away the whole suit and have most of the action scenes in the show without it. So, which I get, they're trying to build it up with like, oh, once he gets his armor back, then it's like a cool badass moment, like whatever. But it's like, the point of the Master Chief is that's all the time, right?
Look, yeah, I mean, like I thought about this, where like I get the appeal of being able to see Chief without his armor still kick ass and show that it's not just the armor, it's the man, not the man in the suit type of Iron Man shit. You know what I mean?
He's still augmented, so.
Right. I mean, it's like Captain America, but so I get that idea, and I kind of like that thought of getting to see him still kick ass in that way. But I mean, you still kind of want to see him in the suit like more than once.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I definitely feel like it comes down to like budget, and I hate knowing that because that just makes things feel so unfortunate. Where it's like in the 8 hours worth of TV that we end up watching of this, he's in his armor for maybe an hour and 20 minutes as a whole, and that's
and
kind of
egregious.
He's
bitching about the chain of command and
and wearing a vest with a medium shirt.
The funniest bit in that was when he finally gets the energy sword. I was like, fuck yeah. And he immediately gets blown up before he can even use it. I thought that shit was so fucking funny.
That's cool. Plasma pistol.
Oh my god.
That shit was so good. Oh man, that was funny. But with this quick segue, because he was about to go up against the Arbiter for a split second. Let's quickly talk about that, because I know Devin he was real pissed.
Oh my god!
In that last episode when Chief killed the Arbiter.
Okay, but like, just quick note on that: it is not the Arbiter; it's a Arbiter. It's Ann Arbiter.
That's what I was going to tell. Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. So does that make you feel a little better, Devin?
Yes, much so. Because I stopped the show and immediately, when they killed the Arbiter, I stopped the show and just went to Rotten Tomatoes and made an account. And I spent the next 20 minutes writing a review because I was like, I am fucking done. Like, you guys have treated this with such irreverence that you just had the Master Chief kill the Arbiter.
Yeah.
But that's another thing that I don't like it. I don't like that they killed even an Arbiter. I don't know that any Arbiter should have died right now, or if he even should have been in the show if they were going to do it that way. Because they tried to make a backstory and side story that didn't fucking matter by making a connection.
Tell you enough. They don't tell you. You don't know enough about him for it to matter. It doesn't
exactly.
matter.
But then they still tried to force a connection between him and the human character, the Key or whatever the fuck she is. And it was like, if you weren't going to do that and weren't going to use the Arbiter that we know and love, why waste time on that story?
Exactly.
Just make a guy, make them say like that's an Arbiter, and then call it a day, or not even have him. He can just be a silver elite, and that could be the fucking end of it.
Gold elite.
I don't know why they did
that. There's cool elites out there,
and that's why I was confused because I always thought there was only one Arbiter. I thought it was always like because I do vaguely remember that the Arbiter from the game is like basically an outcast, and then some shit happens, non-spoiler stuff in the future.
The Arbiter is like given to you as if you've like done if you've done a grave crime, and then your life.
Right. So
it's similar to serving on the wall, basically.
Yeah,
where it's like
okay. See, so they're just passing out Arbiters left. Like you, you suck.
There's only
you
one
were late
Arbiter
4 days.
Yeah.
Oh, there is only one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
so it's giving you a
okay.
chance to like basically repent for your sins or repent for your failures.
Which
is usually
and then once you do the task, like the hierarchs will send you on a mission, something that the Covenant needs. And then once your mission is done, they kill you, but you got your honor back.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Oh, okay, that makes more sense because it's still weird that they did that. I don't know if that's so that they don't have to explain what an Arbiter is in the future, but
maybe. I mean,
why? Why? They could just do it then. It's not. You just explain it to me in 4 minutes.
Right. You know what does a great job of explaining what the Arbiter is? Halo 2. When they introduce the Arbiter.
That's why I
could just be patient.
It gives you really interesting
look,
politics.
They needed. Yeah. They wanted Chief to have a big thing to fight, but they could have made it a different big thing.
I was incensed for most of the show, and then when I finally read it, it's like, oh, it's actually a different Arbiter. I'm like, okay, now I feel a lot better.
You know the big bad they could have given him to fight? That fucking brute that they wasted in the fourth episode.
Oh, yeah.
They just threw a brute in there that was completely random. Never saw another one again.
He swung one time and then died, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I mean, it was cool to see the gravity hammer. That was cool. But
I wanted to see it use gravity. It knocked him back about as far as...
I don't think he killed anybody.
No, it knocked him back about as far as Master Chief could throw a normal human.
Soren's wife came and blew them all up with a big ship.
Wasteful. They just wanted to show that they had a brute model created that they wanted to use.
Yeah, basically.
No grunts still, by the way.
Terrible. No grunts. The jackals too, but no grunts.
The jackals were cool. Cool. But no grunts.
Homeboy dying of a needler explosion, which I definitely thought would have left more of a mark, but it didn't.
Blow that man to bits.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. Like I was a little sad when he died. I was like, damn, that's fucked.
Dude,
that
was like the most Master Chief of any of these characters in the show.
Yes.
Like he was the most like this is.
He should have been Master. They should have Pedro Pascal and just make him a person of color instead, and just make him Master Chief.
Yeah,
because he had a good stoicism to him.
I think for the most part. Because, like, I don't think this is a spoiler. Like, the whole point of Halo is that Chief is the only Spartan left until there's more randomly. And so I thought they did it was weird. I was like, as it was happening, I was like, oh yeah, they're trying to find ways to get rid of his team because he has to be the only Spartan.
I wish they'd leaned into that more, but instead they all, Vanek is the only one that gets a cool badass death, right? Like the other one, Riz, just retires.
Well, Riz retiring I was like, all right, whatever, who cares? You sucked anyways, it don't matter. But Kai, I was like, I feel like there's a chance she's still alive, even though there's that shot of her floating in space and she's probably a puddle of goo in that suit. But I was like kind of taken off guard when her last line is like, oh, this is gonna hurt. And then she just explodes into the ship. I was like, oh, is she dead?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. They didn't talk about enough of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, yeah, so that was interesting as a season little plot storyline for all of them.
Yeah. But again,
no, it wasn't.
Her whole plot line of just like abandoning them like to train the Spartan 3s was just so random and like contrived to me.
there is not
Yeah.
a single character in this story that develops. No development happens. Every character stays a straight line. She's still weird. She still doesn't really understand anything. And she still is struggling with whether or not she's a good leader. And does she ever get to solve that? No. What happens instead? Everybody fucking dies, including her. There was no solution to her story of becoming a better leader like she wanted to because she wanted to be as good as Master Chief. That is just a storyline that just went in a straight line and died, and that is it. Vanek didn't even have a storyline. That man had nothing about him. So I can't even care about him dying because he is nobody. He's the black man that I remember from fucking Detroit Become Human. That's the only thing I know about that man's character. And then he dies to a dealer. That's cool. Riz wanted to have this storyline with the gay couple, which that's great. I love that they introduced that, and so that those people really aren't in the game.
Gone in 4 seconds.
Gone in 4 seconds, and then her storyline wraps up to nothing still too. And it's just like, why did you add that stuff to make me feel bad for anybody when none of these characters fucking matter?
They made the Chief really hard on her. They made the Chief so hard on her, which is way out of character for him. Like, he would not be that much of a dick. And she was like,
well, I feel like they did it so that they would have that really cool moment when he comes and saves the day, which I was genuinely like, okay, this is cool. That was one of the cool moments in that last episode. One where the shot they've used in the trailer where he opens up like the door to the ship and it's just a space battle in front of him. That was cool. And then when he shows up and just starts cutting motherfuckers up with an energy sword, I was like, that was dope as shit. Part of me was like, I feel like I could be watching one of them dope CG trailers for one of them video games right now, but it's still dope as shit.
And that's kind of the issue is the action. I think some of the action is really interesting. I really enjoyed some of that stuff, especially when like the fact that they were picking up like Covenant weapons and stuff like that and just kind of getting scrappy with it. I was like, the choreography here is pretty sick. Like, okay.
We'll note on this though. Okay. She says, have you ever held a plasma rifle before? And then she picks up a carbine. Okay. And then the Marine and then the Spartan 3 picks up needlers. So that's not the right gun.
Neither of them are the right gun.
Get it.
The gun
right.
situation actually kind of annoyed me more than I think it should have. I had to kind of accept that like guns other than UNSC grade weapons probably exist because like sometimes there's like a battle rifle or it looks like the commandos in there. Then it's just like
very generic looking sci-fi weapons.
Then it's just like, here's an AK-47. I'm like, wait, wait a second.
I know, man. Like,
why wouldn't they use something else that would be like similar to that? But instead, it's like this is just a random fucking SMG that's not in any of the games or anything. And I'm like, oh,
that's what's confusing is they did such a good job with like the some of the Covenant weapons, and like you can tell they tried for some of the guns, and then for others they just didn't care at all. It's like you're dealing with a game that has only a bunch of guns that you can.
The sandbox in Halo is ridiculous with how many guns exist in that lore of that game.
SMGs, assault rifles, DMRs, like there's all kinds of guns that you could do. And a lot of them could be similar. And then instead you just go with like a very generic looking thing. So
well,
maybe
it was just weird to me. So I just felt that I had to note that because I remember being like, why the fuck does that man just have a fucking 45 caliber pistol?
Yeah. Since we were talking about the space battle a little bit, I really had some high hopes for space battles because they like really get into them in the books. You know, they talk about how different, like, because you know how a lot, and that unfortunately this is what it ended up being, just random ships floating around and just shooting at each other. I think they did do a good job of showing how fragile UNSC ships are. Like as soon as they come in, right, that whole fleet jumps in and then one of them just instantly eats a laser, and like that's exactly right. Like, but I wish they'd shown a little bit more of like tactically how they set up, because you know it's unique. That's one of the things that makes Halo unique is like the human ships are way weaker than the Covenant ships, right? And they have to like wait and time. They have like basically big cannons, like Mac rounds, that just a big slug, like it's just a giant shell that they fire at the ships, but they have to wait for the Covenant to drop their shields right at the right second, or else it'll just bounce off. So they had to get really creative of like how they approach battles, and they're going to lose. They know they're going to lose a lot more than Covenant, right? So like one Covenant ship is worth like 4 or 5 UNSC ships, right? And they just didn't do anything with that whatsoever.
I was about to say, they show up and then everyone immediately gets murked.
I mean, yeah,
and that was all they had. They didn't even shoot a single round. Everyone's just sitting there like, oh, look, it's the UNSC. Oh, they're dead.
And it's like, oh, we just got to throw bodies at it because we got to control the Halo. And it's like, what? Like, you don't have to control the Halo. The only reason that they had to get there first was because fucking McKee's character, which still doesn't, I'm still mad about the fact that the Covenant have a human that they would just like entertain, because like the Covenant view humans as like insects. They literally don't give a fuck. They hate us so much. We're just like in their way. They're just an obstruction. So the fact that McKee exists at all sucks. Whatever, I get it because of the show, they got to do it. But like, that's the only
No, they
reason
don't. Literally don't. There's none of that exists in any of the games that has good stories. Like, it doesn't matter.
The Covenant were at the Halo ring for like a long time. They just had the Halo ring and they like worshipped it. But they just can't use any of the technology because they, you know, the Forerunners didn't leave it for them. But here in the show, it's like, well, we got to get to the Halo ring first.
Wait,
and like,
is that true?
Yes.
Yeah, like
That's fucking
in
dumb.
the game.
What?
In the game when they find the Halo ring, which by the way is a cool moment because it's like, and I feel like the show did a terrible job of that because like the whole time season 1 was like, we got to find the Halo ring, right? And then out of nowhere in this season, it's just like, oh well, the Covenant's there. We know exactly where it is, so let's just go to it. And like the whole time, the Halo itself, instead of having some kind of moment reveal of like, wow, this is like a giant ring that you can live on, like you can land on it, right?
Right,
and
right.
like it has an atmosphere. Like that's such a cool thing. And
Right.
it's completely sidelined for the stupid ass drama that we are dealing with. Like the chief just chirping back and forth with Parangoski the whole time, like hanging up on her and and then, and then calling her again and hanging up. Like, fuck off. Like, they missed an
finding out
opportunity
that Halo is actually a weapon is like a pretty important part of the storyline.
And maybe they'll get into that in the next season, but like, there's just no reveal moment of like, that's the Halo, right? Like, or that's Halo. Cause I don't want to say the Halo because that's what they said in the show, and it's Halo. Okay, it's just Halo. All right,
but aren't there multiple Halos?
Yeah, they haven't found that out yet.
Yes.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, exactly. For now, there's only one. But like, yeah. But instead of having some kind of cool reveal moment of like, wow, we're here, we found it. It's like sidelined because of this dumb battle that's going, like this useless, battle that's going on the side and on the side.
Dune would have cooked the shit out of that. They would have made that shit awesome. Having that big reveal with the bright lights and all that shit. Some wavering music as you kind of like land towards it. It's like, this place is beautiful. Would have been great. But instead, we get one little fucking area with some grass and some trees to have a face off between two characters that I don't really even care about anymore at this point.
I will say, I thought Chief putting the helmet on, finally have Cortana back, picking up the energy sword with just being the greenery. I thought that was a decent looking shot. I thought it was pretty cool. I was like,
you can tell that they learned.
Halo to me.
That was a cool shot.
You can tell they learned from the first season where they did the just fucking shitty ass background with nothing in it because they ran out of budget.
Yeah.
But they were like, we're going to save some budget for this and actually have a real background for this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do think that's interesting. I wonder if it's a thing. Again, budget is what most of these issues come from a lot. Is that I don't really know if I want. If that's how that's like the story of like Halo and how it's all revealed. I don't know if I want to see more backstory of the Covenant because right now at this point I don't care about the Covenant. I know nothing about the Covenant. Every time I see them, I'm like, they don't look that good. When it's just them on, like when it was all of them talking to McKee, I'm like, this doesn't look very good. Maybe that's why they didn't do what's in the game where it's like this whole Covenant lore. Because they don't have the money to do it well.
Halo 1, there's not a lot of Covenant lore. Halo 1, they're basically just the enemy. But Halo 2, they really get into it because you follow the Arbiter story. So you learn a lot more about the Covenant. And that's Halo 2 is, I think, widely regarded as like the best story. But
I think it's a very well told story and very good pacing.
Yeah. But they've kind of done it in the show, but they haven't really shown you enough of how like the Covenant are like on this like religious, kind of similar to Dune, they're on this like religious holy war against humanity, right? Because they think that humanity's in the way for their great journey, and they haven't really defined that enough.
That's why I think that they had to make a choice of whether or not they wanted to add more stuff like the Arbiter in there. So if you were going to do that, then it would have made sense right now to start exploring that. But they just didn't. Mm-hmm. They tried to explore it through the human character, but that just was worthless.
And maybe they will. Maybe they will. Right?
It's too late.
I mean, it might be too late.
I think it's too late.
I would love to see them take, because the first Arbiter's dead. Now it's like, okay, we have to assign a new Arbiter, and then they do the real Arbiter, right?
I like the idea. They're like, who's the next fuck up? You.
It's the lottery. You're chosen. You're the fuck up.
It should be directly related to the events of what happened on Halo. Okay, like that's exactly what makes the Arbiter. But
the Arbiter, yes.
But since they haven't done anything correct at this point, they probably won't. But
it's like, why is he the one that ends up being the Arbiter? Where it's like, bro, I wasn't even there. That other motherfucker that was the first Arbiter, he was there. Why am I getting punished for this? For not stopping the demon? Fuck, this shit sucks. You know what I mean? Like, also, it's gonna feel weird no matter what they do if they do bring in another Arbiter. Because it's like, we didn't see anyone else fail at their mission except for the motherfucker that died. Like,
yeah, also, how do they know that the Arbiter's dead?
Because McKee's is still there. She'll report it. She's like, that's.
I guess she'll tell. I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
And there should be more Covenant on the Halo ring. Like, I don't know. It looks like it kind of lifted off. It looked like the humans were going to start landing on the Halo ring. So I don't know.
The ending confused me because I was like, Chief's helmet wasn't cracked like it is the very ending. Yes. I was like, that that was just so you could see his eye. That was dumb. One, I was like, why is Chief just sitting here? Two, where did McKee go? It was just such a little bit of a jarring cut to be left on a weird cliffhanger ending. I was like, that was weird.
Fast and Furious 10 level. For sure. It's like, all right, we're just gonna move on.
I wanted to just talk about Cortana. That whole plot line that Cortana did. First of all, she wasn't in the show nearly enough. Second of all, whatever they did, she looked way better in the first season. In my opinion,
I liked her CG design. They went with she looks like she's played by an actual human now. And they just colored her blue. I like the CG Cortana from season 1 more too. Yeah,
I do too. I agree.
And then
absolutely.
She also just again contrived, but the Covenant capturing her should have been a way bigger deal because I'm just complaining about stuff in the lore now, but the AI is one of the main advantages humans have over the Covenant, right? But there's this thing called the Cole Protocol that you got to destroy an AI if they're going to get captured by the Covenant because they all have the navigation charts, so they know how to get to Earth. So if any AI got captured, the Covenant know where all the human planets are, right? And then Cortana's just hanging out on a Covenant ship for the entire season. I don't know. I get she was kind of doing an inside agent kind of thing, but it felt like she was forgotten about this whole season because a lot of Halo is about the relationship between the Master Chief and Cortana. And he didn't care about her at all the whole season. And then in the middle of that battle, the last episode, he's like, oh yeah, I should go save Cortana. And then, they get reunited and it's great. And it was great when they got back together, but it's I just hate what they did with Cortana this season too. I don't know.
It's just a weird plot line that just wasn't really necessary. I'm also complaining about the lore, but the whole thing about the Fall of Reach is supposed to be the strengthening of the connection between Cortana and Master Chief. And they don't even see each other for 7 out of 8 episodes. So it's
right.
Why did you do that? Why did you do that?
When they're leaving Reach, Cortana, because she was doing some research on foreigner stuff, she just was like, okay, well, I'll just go to a random jump here. And that's how they find the Halo ring, was through Cortana randomly jumping there, right? But, here she kind of is responsible for them
seems
finding
contrived.
it,
I can see why they didn't do that. I can see why they wouldn't do that. And just she just randomly found it.
Yes, it's too video game.
She put together information that she knew, and then she, that's what she went with. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Just the whole fact that she was on a Covenant ship for so long was bad to me.
I just kind of wanted more of her in general. Just
agreed.
Repeat what you guys are saying. I was just surprised that she wasn't, and I was like, yeah, just interesting. Let's talk about the flood because we got to wrap up soon-ish. That's probably one of the last big key elements we haven't talked about. Devin, you hated it.
Well, I did, and I think it's because they rushed it. I think
I agree.
The whole time we're building up that humanity has no chance against the Covenant, right? And then so on Halo 1, you're just trying to survive. You're trying to figure out what's going on in this Halo ring. The ring, it's all a big mystery, right? And it's cool because you don't really know what's going on. You're curious, right? The player is curious, and then out of nowhere, in the middle of the game, you're fighting this new enemy now, and it's really scary because they're these kind of space zombie things, right? And you know that the enemy that's more scared, the Covenant, who is better than you, is very scared of this enemy, right?
Right.
So it's I wish they had waited to reveal it on the ring because it's okay, the Covenant's kicking our ass. We know that. Season 1 and 2 about the Covenant being better than humans, which I don't think they did good enough job of, but whatever. But then if you wait and be patient and reveal the flood later, after we're already kind of established that we don't really have a lot of hope in this war, it's oh my God, now we got to deal with this. It's it just would have been so much cooler. So
I'll say 2 quick things on that. One, I'm probably going to repeat this a lot. We're not in Halo 1 yet. We're not in the story in the show. Right? We're not in Halo 1 yet. But 2 is, I kind of like the fact that it's the humans' fault the flood gets out.
I was going to ask if the breadcrumbs read well for you, Oscar, with how it spread.
It came off of that fucking thing they found from the yeah, right. It came off of that thing because Homegirl even says, "I'm not a very good biologist." It's well, then you shouldn't be fucking around with stuff, lady. What are you talking about?
And technically, Halsey found it first when she found the DNA with the humans and the not human stuff.
And then my biggest question in terms of the flood is it seems pretty contained now. Just blow that shit up. It's because it's like what? How? And also, like Halsey and Miranda are just trapped. Like I don't know how the hell they're gonna get out of that.
She's in a room with multiple flood. I mean, is Miranda
like
dead?
surrounding her? No, I don't know. I don't know how the hell she's getting out. Because like to me, it's like if she calls anyone to come help, they just go in there and it's still just contained to one ship, unless they're gonna establish there's more flood somewhere
I think that
else.
facility was on Onyx, Onyx is like, I mean, they might do more with it. But did you see that brief shot of like how it was like a big city, a big foreigner city?
I might have been. But like, I might. Okay.
But like, the fact that it was airborne and then it was completely arbitrary who got infected and who wasn't. So like Halsey.
Yeah, I don't know how it is in the game. I was getting massive Last of Us TV show vibes from that.
Gross little spiders would get inside of you.
It was pretty gross. I will say it looked gross. I thought it was. If it meant to look gross, it looked gross.
Yeah, I think they did a decent job with that.
I mean, yeah, it was scary, but like at the same time, I think I want to see more. I want to see them being more unique. I want to see like the kind of flood, like little like tentacles kind of hanging out of the front of people and stuff. But like she went from the CIC where everybody was getting infected, and then she just kind of walked back to where Miranda was, and it was completely fine. And there's still people just walking around. It was just all over the place. That's another thing. Like earlier on, like when Chief is just kind of walking around that base too, like he's just walking around, and like he can kind of go wherever he wants, and then the plot, just wherever he's needed to be for the plot.
I don't like this show very much.
I'm just and
bitter. I think they needed to do something more akin to like Sonic the Hedgehog, where if they were already working on borrowed time with this show, they should have just sped some shit up. Some shit just needed to be sped up so they get to the good parts.
It's 2 seasons now, and we just got to the Halo ring, and you might not even get a season 3. So why? Like, I feel like you could have done everything. You could have done everything in these first 2 seasons. You could have trimmed it and put all of that in season 1, and then right now you could be on Halo doing stuff.
I think that would have been the best way to go about it. If you weren't going to give Reach the time that it deserved, then you should have just gone ahead and just skipped past some of that shit and just moved on real quick.
Or just streamline it and tell a good story, which they could have done. Like, they could have done all this in season 1.
Yes, that was the showrunner now. That's not really his fault. That's you know what I mean. That's something that's already happened, and now they have to deal with it. So it's kind of you're playing a little bit of catch up as a whole anyway. But I don't think they did a very good job of that either. So now it's just kind of like,
Listen, man, I'm just saying, if this is what we get for like giving the writers rights, I'm team AI. Okay, I asked ChatGPT to give me a summarized version of a script of the Fall of Reach book, and it gave me a much better Act 1, 2, and 3 that could have been turned into a show. So
yeah, this show has done something very good in that I actually want to. So I know you're super busy, Oscar. At any point you ever want to play through the games after you got a decent computer, I do want to replay through them. I do want to.
No, honestly, I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that.
We can't play all Halo 1 together because it's only 2-person split screen. But we can play all the other games all together.
Can you do it on Halo 2? I thought Halo 2.
Yeah, Halo 2 is 4-player. You can play 4-player.
Oh, heck yeah.
Wow, that's pretty dope.
In Halo 3, you get to become unique, like, elites, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
one person gets to be the armor.
No, I was thinking the same thing. Like, I kind of forgot that I have that capability now, so I might look into it.
Yeah, it's always goes on sale for like $10. It's pretty cheap to get the Master Chief Collection.
Oh wow!
I'm telling you, the remaster of Halo 2 is so good,
phenomenal.
Like, it's so cinematic.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Nice. My last quick thoughts on the flood was I thought it did its job considering I know nothing in terms of shit, this is really bad. No, not good. I'm very curious on how the hell Halsey's gonna not die.
That they did not really leave that at all.
They put her on ice like she's the Winter Soldier.
They said until we find a cure for this, we're just gonna put you on ice.
I'm sorry, but I don't. We'll see if they can do it. I doubt it. I don't really care about Quan being an ancestor to these people that are trying to fight the flood or whatever, and this old woman.
Are they trying to Are they trying to say that she's a forerunner? Maybe is that what they're trying to get at?
Know.
I'm really not sure what they're trying to do because it seems like she's more akin to the grave mind, which runs like the flood hive mind.
I'm telling you, it's just because they had to find a purpose for Quan instead of just telling a story that Quan could fit into. Her purpose, find something for Quan to do.
Her purpose should have been dying in season 1. No offense to the actor.
I'll say she had a better haircut this season though.
Yes. And I thought she was cool in what she did. Like I think she's a good actor. I just don't think she should have been in the show, unfortunately.
I agree. I mean, same thing with like
I
Soren's
agree.
wife. She did a pretty great job. Like characters completely.
Yeah, they got
useless.
rid of her though.
And they
They
should have. I'm
didn't.
glad they got to get rid of Soren. Fuck that man too. Fuck.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Soren, but like I'm sick of seeing your weird alien arm or
I
whatever
used
you
to
got
be a
going on there.
Spartan. We get it.
I
Used to be a
thought- I will
Spartan.
say,
You're
like-
a dick now. Fuck you.
Yeah,
Die.
I will say he did have some lines that I was like, all right, there's some levity to him that I enjoyed.
I
but-
almost laughed once when he saw
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
flood and he said, "Oh hell no!" And I was like, "Ha, ha, that's
I thought,
me."
Yeah. Man. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Again, now look, if they don't get to Halo 1 in season 3, I can't wait another season for them to start this fucking
There's
show,
nothing. They
you
have
know?
nothing else to do at this point. They have to.
Like
Yeah.
he's literally on the fucking Halo. Can we go? Can we go
Yeah.
forward?
Ugh.
I think the worst thing that happened for this show for me was that it actually got hyped in comparison to season
Yeah.
one, and that was with people that like consistently shat on season one, which I felt pretty comfortable in their opinion of it being a better show, and I don't think it really improved upon most of anything. Once again, I think the art direction, there's some soul there. There's some people that really care, and then everything else is a dud. That's exactly how I felt in the first season. So it sucks because these people really did put some care into it. The rest of their team hates them. I think the rest of their team just doesn't care about them.
I just want to sum up my final thoughts with 4 quotes that I wrote down from the show.
4 quotes is crazy.
This is Ackerman in season 1. Everybody knows the Master Chief, but do we know John? Again, in the next episode with Ackerman, I'm not worried about the Master Chief. I'm worried about John, the man. Oh, that's what we all want. Reach episode today. He doesn't need armor. I guess not. Guess not. You know, never does. And then the moment that really just bugged me so much was that John, when he was in John, because he's not the Master Chief, right? John, he's in that base, and there's all these posters of him around, like to inspire people. And it says, one of them says, "Be the Master Chief," and that was like directly from like a marketing campaign from one of the games, which is like, that's the point, man. That's why you don't take the helmet off, because that's what Halo is like, we are the
symbol.
Master Chief.
Yeah.
You are the Master Chief. I am the Master Chief. Like, it's whoever's behind the mask, right? Like, you, the player, are the Master Chief. And that was a really cool marketing campaign. And then he literally looks at that and like scoffs and just like walks away. And I'm like, man, fuck you guys.
I get in the original they said they didn't want a solid protagonist, and that's kind of what he started out as. But as someone that's played through the entirety and 100% of Halo Infinite, that man is a fucking yapper at this point. John fucking 117 does not shut the fuck up anymore. So he has tons of characterization akin to fucking The Mandalorian. Probably even more, honestly. And we saw a show that had all that emotion shown without really taking off the helmet. So I don't know why they need to go so hard. Literally, every other Spartan does take their helmet off. He's one of the few that don't. And that's kind of the point. Because he's elusive. He is, he's a pillar that no one knows about. Like, that is a fucking Master Chief. If they're going to make a show about Master Chief, don't make it about him. Make him be that symbol that everyone is interested in, and make the story about someone else. Make Talia the main character. Have a story about her, and then have her see and be like, oh shit. You know who that is? That's fucking Master Chief. Because that gives you that feeling of like, oh shit, like that's a character, that's a person that we like, we respect and don't really know about. He's really elusive. And I just know that he kicks ass whenever he walks into the building. I don't need this shit about him having sex and having feelings and I don't know.
You don't like Chief going to therapy?
Angry. No, that's just stupid, bro. That adds nothing to the character. It ruins everything that makes Master Chief so cool and such an interesting character is the fact that we don't know anything about him. We just know that he's autistic and he loves the fuck out of Cortana. And that is the whole story. That's what matters.
Like, he finishes the fight. He just does the mission. Okay? As long as the mission is kicking ass, that our Covenant. Okay? Like, you know who did a really good job with it? I think that it was like a little mini series before Halo 4. It's Forward Unto Dawn.
Yes.
And he was a side character in that. Did a great job. Okay? It was low budget, but it was like, it worked.
It was one of the better things I've seen in that space. Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, like, I'm less, like, I get it because, like, we were never going to win that fight with him, with taking the helmet off. But, like, at least have him just be focused on the right stuff. I mean, just having the Chief just mad at, the only chain of command is not Halo.
Bro beat up way more Marines than he did in Covenant.
He injured, I think there's a good chance that he injured more human beings in the show than he did Covenant. And that is a travesty.
Bro, go punch a grunt, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah, I still want grunts. I want grunts in Halo in season
hilarious.
3.
Because they're funny. They're funny. Easy levity.
My last couple quick thoughts. This one, as I'm scrolling through these episodes, I was so mad when Riz went back for Vanek's body. I was like, "Are you fucking joking? Why didn't you grab it? Why are you doing this now?" Because then I was like, "You're gonna die," and she gets shot in the plane. I was like, "Great, now the plane has 2 corpses on it. Way to go, you fucking idiot!"
I really,
But
wanted her to
luckily
just
she wasn't dead.
Yeah.
But I was like, "Oh my god,
Oh,
that was insanity."
That would have been a great time to just kill everybody from that team, to be honest.
Yeah.
For real.
Agreed.
I like that Kai beat the absolute utter shit out of Chief. That was hilarious. That was absolutely
She had her
glorious.
full armor on.
And her armor was
All right,
so
Devin,
funny.
he's fictional. You don't have to defend him. It's all right. He's fine.
Why did,
You know,
why
that
did
was
she
just-
have the armor on right then? She put on
That
her
shit was
helmet to
funny
beat the
as
shit out of him. She said, "Wait a second,
That shit was funny.
let me suit up."
Oh, man.
That shit was funny as fuck. I think that's. Oh yeah, homegirl. The fucking lady gets flooded. Hilarious. A lot of people got flooded in this episode. I was like, okay, well they're killing off a lot of people. Cool.
Yeah, the flood took more numbers than the entirety of Silver Team.
Mhm.
Yeah, basically. That's pretty much it. Those are my last little fucking side notes. Look again. I just want to see them do. Hey, now we're at Halo 1. Will they do Halo 1? Probably not.
No.
But who
No.
knows? I'm
Probably
curious.
not.
Oh, last thing, I don't know if we didn't mention that we see Guilty Spark at the end.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I don't like his
I
voice
guess
so
that's
much.
who he was
Voiced
talking
by Viserys Targaryen from the first season of Game of Thrones.
Oh shit, that's pretty cool. But that's not what Guilty Spark sounds like.
Yeah.
They definitely went
That's
more of
not
like
wrong.
a Portal 2 way than a Halo way.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
his voice kind of goes up and down like in a robotic way. It's one of the coolest like effects of the Halo series,
Yeah,
and they just completely.
it was just
denied
some guy.
it, so.
It's like, okay,
Yeah.
no, that's fine. No.
And also, like, Chief just meets this Forerunner robot, and then he's just talking to him he's just venting about drama with fucking.
That's what I'm saying. It's
chain
weird.
of
Like, when
command,
did he
like,
have
bro,
time to
shut
just?
the fuck
Why did he
up.
just sit down and then? I'm so confused. I'm so confused.
Bro just needs therapy.
I don't know.
He was
weird.
very
It's
casual
really weird.
about, like, oh yeah, this is a Forerunner robot, and I'm just going to talk to him about how much I hate Parangoski. It's like, oh, I didn't do it for them. I did it for them. Man, this is 343
weird.
Guilty Spark. You're talking to a Forerunner robot right now. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. But anyways, Halo season 3. Will it happen? Who knows?
It probably will.
And that's the thing. I do want to see a season 3. As much as I hate this show, I do want to see where they're going to take it. But
I don't.
I want to hate on it. I'm here. I'm just here to hate on it. Okay.
Shout out to you. I'm over it. I've had enough.
Yeah.
I will let it be known, listeners. I watched this because they wanted to talk about this
Yeah,
show.
I sure did. And I was really, I had high hopes for once, and that was a mistake.
I did
Yeah.
too. It's a bit disappointing. It's a bit
Even if I
disappointing.
had, this is a rare case where even if I had low expectations, there was no helping what happened. Like this was
Watch it in the background, listeners. Just watch it in the background while you play Final Fantasy or do something better with your life.
just go play the games. Just do that
Yes.
instead. You'll have a
I
better
agree.
experience.
Play the
Yeah, there you
games.
go.
They're fun.
All right, guys. That was fun. Shall we now move into our final segment of the week,
Let's
Oh,
do it.
boy.
I'm depressed now.
which we like to call Free for All Title Pending. As a segment, listeners, we can kind of do whatever we want. Talk about our day, life, rant, fight. It is free for all. I can quickly go first because I'm continuing my free for all trend for the past 4 weeks now. I'm playing more Final Fantasy, guys. I just passed hour 100.
Jesus Christ. What chapter are you on? Do you know?
I am in chapter 10. I am about to leave. I don't know if this will spoil things for anyone, but I'm about to leave Cosmo Canyon
Okay.
and I'm about to head to Nibelheim.
So yeah, you still got I think probably a few more chapters left.
I think I don't know, but yeah. This game's big, guys.
I hear it very much lends itself to something that you want to complete a lot of the stuff in, just because it's fun
Yeah.
to do.
Very much so. Yeah. I will say the Gongaga region was probably the worst one for me, as far as open world sections, because it's every region before that was just flat. This one had vertical, different platforms and shit. So it was just 2 times as much to explore, and I hated it. I was like, God, this is gonna take me for fucking ever. Oh my God. But it's still fun. It's still great. I'm still continuing. The story is ridiculous, and I'm excited. I'm just trying to, get to the next story beat. But it is still very fun to play. So that's that. And then real quick one. I watched the first 2 episodes of the premiere of X-Men '97.
Oh, hell yeah.
Guys, if it keeps up at this pace, this might be a show we actually have to talk about because, man, was it fucking good. Like, trying to put nostalgia aside, this show just does the X-Men so well. I will say, like, watch the first episode because this show makes Cyclops awesome.
Really?
A thing that we have not seen in any live action thing ever.
I hate Cyclops.
This makes you like Cyclops, dude. I'm telling you. Like, I was like, fuck. If this is what we can get, like, if this is like a precursor to what we can get when Marvel live action actually eventually does the X-Men, I am so looking forward to it. Like, this is,
for all intents and purposes, Cyclops should be the most badass character in the shit.
Yeah, I mean, awesome. He's the leader of the X-Men for a reason, you know, and like he's a Boy Scout, but like, I mean, he's Captain America and Superman in a way, and people love Captain America, you know, if they can, and yeah, I'm just very cool, very cool. I'm excited to continue to watch that show.
I love to hear that because I was kind of lukewarm on it just because I'm just a little over Marvel as a whole, even though I loved the show in '97 when it came out, but I was kind of reluctant until I heard some good things about it. So that's good.
Yeah, I would say at least watch that first episode. If that doesn't hook you, then it doesn't really matter. But I would say watch the first episode. Watch them both because, you know, Magneto shows up in the second one and he delivers a pretty good speech. And I would say it's pretty solid show. Yeah. Unusual. Shout out to God of War Ragnarok.
Man, don't nobody care about that shit anymore. We got good games out now. Anyway.
Listeners, Brian's recording just died on us. So right now it's just gonna be me and Devin talking for a little bit. So you might get to hear Brian's free for all next week. All right, now Devin, go with your free for all, and remember, Brian's not here.
Well, I've ranted enough today, so I'll just very quickly go. This weekend, my nieces were in town, and I went to go take them see Kung Fu Panda 4, which was a pretty enjoyable thing. I think if you put Jack Black, I think they've got it all wrong, right? Hollywood's got it all wrong. If instead of putting Chris Pratt and everything, put Jack Black and everything, because he makes anything better just by being there.
That's true. That's good. So you liked it? I mean, I can't believe they got to 4. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I thought it was probably the least good of the Kung Fu Panda movies. But that being said, Kung Fu Panda is always pretty cool because, like, I just like the anime kind of influences, like the cuts and stuff they do of like the, you know, like when people fly and they do the effects. Like the art direction is very cool.
Yeah.
But I think the first one's still my favorite.
I've not seen a single Kung Fu Panda movie. So.
Oh, really?
No.
You should see the first one. The first one's pretty cool. But wait until you have like, you know, like some young cousins or something to see it with, because it's I love kids movies. It's like one of the ones that like doesn't exhaust me. So yeah.
Oh, that's good. What a recommendation.
Yeah. Because man, listen, there's some kids movies like Disney especially where it's like, bro, if you see it like more than 5 times, you're like,
oh my gosh.
Right, I'm
at
done.
Work, because there's a TV backstage and like we're like performing for children. At work, someone had played the newest Trolls movie just on a loop all day. I had no ill will towards Trolls. I fucking hate Trolls. Oh my God. I wanted to fucking die. I was like, who keeps putting this goddamn movie on over and over again?
Yeah.
I wanted to die.
Yeah, Trolls is another one. Yeah, I've had enough.
That's cool, man. Very nice. Very nice. Love a little family outing. That's dope.
Mm-hmm.
All right, listeners, that's it. That is the show. You can email us at thefortress@gmail.com, Fortress spelled EFOUR. You can feel free to email us any questions, feedback, recommendations, anything like that. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, the YouTube channel at The Fortress of. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your cat. Follow the 3 Bollywood R's, rate, review, and recommend us to anyone and everyone you know. Thank you, Jackie, for helping edit the podcast every week. Thank you, Brian, for the art, Alex for the music, and Devin, thank you for being here, even when you're not here. You can find Brian on Instagram at ITZ_by the way. Alex at Peterson Films, and Devin, you can find him eagerly anticipating Halo Season 3. Next week, listeners, maybe Godzilla Kong team up to fight a big red Kong, and a pink Godzilla or some shit. I don't know.
Does that come out
maybe
this
something
week?
else. I think it does. I think it comes out this weekend. I could be wrong. That could be next week. I don't remember. But if not, it'll be something else, listeners. We'll be here. And as usual, happy holidays and put a code on. His code out there. I'm fucking sick of the cold, guys. I'm dead serious. It's about to be April. I need some warm weather.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. All right, listeners. We'll see you here next week on another episode of The Fortress of.